I want to begin by thanking all of you for responding to our invitation to come to this conference, a workshop, or the quest for regional integration, costs and benefits of South Sudan accession to EAC. I want to thank the DPF members for coming, the Ebony team, and I want to start by saying that we are happy at Ebony Center for having you here, and I am one of the fans of the EAC, long before we even thought about accessing to it. The reason is that when I was in Khartoum, I was the Minister for Foreign Trade, and also I was the Deputy Minister for International Cooperation. And my dealings were mainly with these regional organizations. So, with my experience in these two organizations, I said, yeah, if we get independence, we should be able to join them. But regional organizations, international organizations have become a trend of the world now. We have the North American Treaty Organization, NAFTA, EU, everything. If you stay out of it, you are going to find yourself a lone wanderer in this international community. So I'm glad that today we are sitting here to talk about it, and I will not talk much. Whether we have benefits or not, there are benefits. Even we got benefit from COMESA before we separated. It was Sudan that was in COMESA, but I was able to bring the COMESA people to come and do a 1-week course for our staff in the ministries here on procurement. So see, we got the benefit without even paying for it. And the only worry that I have is that since we are joining it, we are going to make it possible for Sudan maybe to join. Because proximity is one of the conditions for joining. So, but do we want them to join? Maybe we said. If we are members, we can hold them back for a while. Hold them back for a while until when we feel fit that they should come in. They should come in. The program runs as follows. The keynote speaker and the knowledgeable person of it is Honorable Agritisa Saponi. He will talk to us for quite a while. Then we have the moderator is Dr. Kimo Aban Adibo of the World Bank. Then we have Dr. Nick Charlampitis. I don't know whether that is right or not. And Dr. James Alich will talk on the cost and benefits of joining in it. And then we have Mr. Stephen Doctor of the Ministry of Commerce. Are you? Commerce, yeah. And by the way, I want to say that he was my man for COMESA in Khartoum. He is very knowledgeable about this regional organization. And then we have a general discussion. And before closing, I want to thank the Imani Development Global Vision Local Knowledge for cooperating with us in making this workshop successful. They work also to support the government and give reports to the government. And Dr. Lwal just called me. He is not here, he is in Khartoum. But he will come maybe on Monday or Tuesday. That we have the economic week, the third annual economic week on the 23rd to the 25th of November, of this November. So you are all welcomed. It says I should give you this verbally invitation in case some people don't get the written or the telephone invitation, that you are all welcome to come. and especially the DPF members should come for it. So I really encourage you to come, and at that, I think I will call Dr. James Duran to come and give us very brief words about the objectives of this workshop. Thank you.
Presidential Economic Advisors, all this workshop participants, good morning. Of course, like they say in Africa, all other protocols are observed. I would like to state outright that the objectives of this workshop are not money. There are 4 objectives that we would like to achieve when we had these workshops in mind. But before I do that, let me just pick up from where Professor Mlele has left to highlight one entity or 3 entities that I would like to single out for the work they have done to make this workshop what it is today. The TIME, the Trademark East Africa Community, is very much the one supporting Imani, and Imani is very much the one now supporting the government of South Sudan with this accession process. So all the 3 bodies, the TIME, the Imani Development, and the Secretariat, are the real deal in town for taking us through this long walk to a regional body. So I would like to say thank you to them. Now, this workshop, to us, when we conceptualize it, it is meant to achieve 3 things. One, when we were doing the consultative meetings, we managed to talk to a great number of different stakeholders, from some members of parliament to business individuals like Farmers Association, business union, medical practitioners, and all across. There's one key group that we did not manage to talk to, and those are those in the think tanks and the universities. And so this workshop is really meant to engage this crucial group so that they are also brought aboard and that their views, their concerns are taken into consideration. And I'm very glad that the man in charge of this accession process is here with us this morning. Number 2, we also feel that knowledge, when diffused, especially to groups that are very dynamic, it can reach far. So the goal here is to reach academics such that academics will reach students at the university. And how would they reach that? We have invited a number of them from 3 universities, and we hope that those that are here this morning and those that are going to come are going to take this message to their classrooms. The idea that South Sudan is on a road to where EAC, whether that road will take a year or 3 years or even 10 years, the country is on a road and everyone needs to be brought on board. So this is one reason. The third is that when you look at the region, everyone is very much involved with this thing called regional integration. And there are individuals who have taken the initiative of taking, for example, like this product which Imani has produced, as a knowledge that can be shared. So the goal here is to inspire some of you in the interest such that you could take this calling as something that you can do in your individual place of work. Something that you could become a trainer of trainees. This is something that we would like to inspire this morning. The final objective, of course, is that whatever views we are going to hear here, or that we are going to receive, and that are going to come out from this workshop, very much are going to assist, or they are going to inform the process of accession. And like I said before, one is really encouraged to see the Ministry of Trade and some of their officials, like Stephen Doctor is here, and Honorable Tisa is here. These are the people that are very much involved with the process of accession. And of course, people from academia and also leaders across various fields that are here this morning. So to cut the long story very short, the idea is to share this message of accession with the wider society, and with the hope that this individual would share the message with the rest of the society, such that South Sudan is brought on board. Thank you.
Dear colleagues of the DPF, good morning. And I guess the topic which was presented by Professor Elias and then Dr. James is very important, and I think the main focus is on awareness creation by the stakeholders, which include the government, the private sector, and partner states like South Sudan potentially, so that the citizens in the end are also involved in the process, because it's not expected to end up with those of us. And what I did on my part, I tried to download some background materials. When I looked at them, they were about 16 or slightly more, starting with the treaty and the protocols and experiences in other regions, because it is a global process. It's not specific to Africa. And if you look at East Africa, historically, they started almost in the mid-60s and they continued for about 10 years. They failed for a number of reasons. And then they picked up in the late 90s, and this is what we are seeing today. So while we are here, we are going to listen first to a statement on the accession process by means of updating us from Honorable Agritisa Sapuri, and then later on we will be hearing from the lead presenters, mainly focusing on the costs and benefits in joining the Ecss. That is Dr. Nick and then Dr. James, and followed by that, we'll hear what we can call an insider view, somebody who has been part of the process, probably would be highlighting different issues that may be highlighted by Honorable Agri, especially the challenges and then where we are. So without wasting our time, I guess Honorable Agritisa can deliver the statement in about 10 minutes.
No.
It's not?
We'll drop on that.
All right. Okay. So it's a leading, it's like keynote address which will inform almost the rest of the presentations and even our discussions later on. So I'll give you 30 minutes.
Make it 60. What? 60. Okay.
I mean, if you have the capacity to consume the 60.
Thank you very much, Professor Nyamle. Thank you very much, Dr. Kimo. Thank you very much, Dr. Alif Garang. Good morning, everybody. When I walked into this room about half an hour ago, I was happy to see the number of chairs made available for this discourse. But now I must mention my regret that I have cooked food for a very large number only to serve to half or less than half a room full. But however, the number I'm seeing, if it is representative of the think tank, of the group I'm supposed to share with, I think is encouraging. It is a requirement in the Ecss treaty and the various protocols that sensitization of the communities of the member states be taken very, very seriously. So this is a very, very rare opportunity for this very sensitization process to take place. We, those of us who are charged with the responsibility of negotiating South Sudan into accession into the EAC, have been doing our best. We have regularly updated the cabinet of the whole process. We have regularly updated the Legislative Assembly. We have been appearing in various media outlets, but I think we have not had a formal opportunity like this one for the think tanks. We are planning to do the same for the business community, a key stakeholder in the whole process. Because if we're talking about trade or trading, that can only happen in the background of investment and production. The private sector is the engine to this whole process. They are a key stakeholder in the process that requires special sensitization. We plan to go out to the states to do the same. So I am happy for this opportunity to be doing this. By way of starting, let's go as follows. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. So says the Bible. You will find this in Proverbs 9, verse 11. Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. The earthly equivalent of this would go like this. The fear of the law is the beginning of orderly behavior. The fear of the law is the beginning of orderly behavior. Doing things right. Orderly behavior results in doing things right, including executing the budget according to parliamentary appropriations, using the procurement law, not any other scheme, to procure goods, works, and services for public projects and programs, collecting and administering revenue according to the taxation law, implementing the public financial management and accountability law as is meant to be, implementing the Petroleum Management Act, Petroleum Revenue Management Act as is meant to be. The same thing applies to the audit law. The same thing applies to the Bank of South Sudan law. The same thing applies to the anti-corruption law. The same thing applies to any other law that governs public affairs. Between 1972 and 1983, when South Sudan had a respite from its turbulent history characterized by strifes, wars, and so on. That period we normally refer to it as the Addis Ababa Peace Agreement. Addis Ababa 1, was the same. Addis Ababa 2 now. During this period, the buildings you see in the area we call Ministerial Complex, and many, many other buildings across the then southern region, which is now the Republic of South Sudan, were constructed because before that, I would say there was a void. During the same period, a number of health facilities increased more than 10 times from what it was before 1972. The number of educational facilities increased more than 20 times. This work was done by assistant inspectors, by inspectors, by senior inspectors, supervised by assistant directors, or at the very most, deputy directors. There were no director generals, there were no undersecretaries, but the work was done. These professionals were supported by technical personnel in scales of that time, J, H, G, whatever you name it. Revenue to do this work by these people was raised through taxation. There was no oil revenue to do all this. Things were done because the right person was in the right place. He owed his loyalty, or she owed her loyalty to his supervisors and superiors, not to godmothers, not to godfathers outside his unit of employment. The loyalty was to the leadership of the unit you find yourself in. He could be transferred from his workstation to any part of the region. The present Republic of South Sudan was a region of the South Sudan, of Sudan as a whole. Could be transferred at any time without reference to his godfather or godmother, and he would go. The government of South Sudan, in terms of income, between 2005 and early this year, came into access, or was able to access revenue to the tune of $20.5 billion US. Between 2005 and now, the then southern region, now the Republic of South Sudan, had access to something like $20.5 billion US. This is apart from donor funding, a lot of which was administered in a parallel manner for developmental programs as well as for humanitarian programs. This alone amounts to about $1 billion a year. 10 years down the line, the donor community poured something to the tune of $10 billion in addition to government-owned revenue. From the $20.5 billion revenue, only $0.9 billion came from taxes, real revenue. The rest was royalty from a natural resource called oil. Only $0.9 billion equivalent in dollars was raised in form of taxes. During the same period, a member state of the EAC, Uganda, was able to raise $19.6 billion equivalent in US dollars purely from taxation, no oil revenue. Now, in addition to these financial resources, the number of university, diploma, and degree holders, I believe, are now in tens of thousands, including genuine PhD holders. That was not the story, that was not the situation way back between 1972 and 83. Now we have an array of financial resources and well-qualified, relatively speaking, human resources. Now what's the record? What do we, all of us, have to show now for the financial and human resources? I'm inviting all of us here to answer this question. I don't have the answer myself. In the case of Uganda, during the same period, using the resources I mentioned, financial resources I've mentioned, they have been able to drastically reduce poverty rates. They have been able to go for quality, free primary and free secondary education. Facilities that now South Sudanese send their children to access. The human development indicators of Uganda during the same period are impressive. Burundi and Rwanda, other member states, also have very impressive human development indicators during the same period. Facilities and resources that many South Sudanese admire and would want to go and participate in sharing. In terms of capacity in terms of human, I believe the situation is a lot improved. Institutional, I think there are problems there. Putting the wrong person in the right place. We have these university degree graduates. How are they deployed? What is the mix of the available human resources with the financial resources and the many others to bring about the desired outcome or impact? So, if we are unable to put the right person in the right place, it is an indication of capacity constraint. How are we deploying the resources, both financial as well as human? Being unable to prevent the putting of the wrong person in the right place, plus many other unlawful acts, are indications of institutional and systems deficits. What am I driving at? There's a missing link. You have the land. There are places where you can drive for maybe hours without coming across a human being in South Sudan. You have the natural resources. You have these financial resources. And then now you already have these human resources in superior numbers, and I believe qualities, compared to 1972 and 83. Now, what is the missing link? Such that those who are able, South Sudanese, must go outside, and many of them to the East African region, to to source for goods, for services, and for many other things.